You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. Oh, feel it. Feel it, you feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Hey there, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Earth Station Who. That's right, folks. We only have 3 more episodes until the end of Doctor Who. Well, the season, as we like to say. And we are going to be looking all at Rogue tonight. It's an interesting story. It's going to be a lot of talking. It's going to be a lot of dancing. It's going to be a lot of Bridgerton. And it's going to be a lot of spoilers, folks. So if you haven't seen this one, you're going to be spoiled. Okay, you've been warned. So thank you for joining us tonight. We've got a great crew. Let's say, of course, hi to our regulars, Mr. Mike Gordon.
Howdy.
And Ms. Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
And folks, we're not doing a live episode tonight, but we have these 2 wonderful folks here. We have Melanie Dean.
Hi, everybody.
And Dave Chapman.
Hello. Well, we did record live, but everybody else wasn't invited.
Exactly. We're recording live in our minds, and so it's okay. We're having a great show, and we're going to have a great time with everybody tonight.
It's live for us.
Exactly.
It's always live for us.
Exactly. It's always live.
We hope so, anyway.
It's not Memorex, folks. It's definitely not Memorex. Only a couple people who are really old are really going to understand that one.
I think that's what they expect from us.
Well, exactly.
The old people.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, Earth Station Who is not the ones hosted by those old folks. It's the Gen X of Doctor Who podcasts. Yeah. That's it.
You wait till I'm broadcasting from the home.
I think you just wrote our new promo.
Exactly. I love it. That's our new slogan. That's our new slogan for the show. So I think that'll be pretty awesome. All right, folks, we always love to hear from you guys. Please, please, please. If you get a chance, write us feedback at ourstationwho.com or, like us, rate us, subscribe to us, all the good stuff. So definitely not a ton of Doctor Who news other than we are getting a new mini episode on the 20th of this month, actually.
The UK is.
Yes, the UK is. We do have listeners in the UK, Mary. I've seen the numbers.
I know. That's why I'm teasing them.
Yeah, of course. Exactly those. Well, it'll be up on YouTube within 20 minutes after it airs.
Oh, yeah, I know. There's that.
Well, the intros will. They haven't. I don't think they've put up the full episodes, just the bumpers.
Well, you don't need to put up the full episode.
Well, and that's actually a great question there, Dave, because they showed those were basically the beginning and the end, and they showed an old classic episode of Doctor Who. This one is going to be with Shooty and Millie, and it's in the memory TARDIS. So what episode are they going to be showing there?
The rumor I've heard the most credibility is Pyramid of Mars.
Really?
But it would have to be an edited down version because that's 4-episode story arc, but it's only a 75-minute runtime for Tales for the TARDIS.
Oh, they edited all the other ones, so
they did. So
because Tom Baker's the only era that has not had one.
That actually might be lead into some of the pictures I've been seeing from the trailer and stuff, some of the stills that people have been posting online. And I didn't know that it was going to be Pyramids of Mars till you just brought it up. So it's
spoilers.
Exactly. No, I don't care. I think Mike Gordon's the only one who really cares in this room. So about that.
But I can't access Tales of the TARDIS anyway, so it doesn't matter.
See, there we go.
And I've already seen Pyramids of Mars, and I wouldn't watch a truncated version either.
No. So it would be very interesting to see, because some of the images that, were shown in the trailer, some of the image of Mrs. The different characters that we've seen. Susan Twist's character morphing into something on the screen is something very similar out of Pyramids of Mars. So, but also that also leads into something that we saw in tonight's episode that we'll get into in a few, that features a certain alternate Ninth Doctor and the actor who plays him. So it could possibly be into that also.
That could be interesting.
Yes. So I'll be very curious to see what we're going to talk about and what we see. So I think that's pretty awesome, though, that we're getting that. Well, as Mary said, only in the UK they're getting that. So, but it's, I think it'll be a good time for us to see, Judy and Ruby and the, memory TARDIS. So,
and I've said this whole season that those Tales from the TARDIS bits are not unconnected to this season.
Right.
They've had comments, there was comments about being a second regeneration kind of a thing, that we wouldn't have picked up before the bigeneration. Sylvester McCoy mentioned, in one universe I regenerated, and one I'm old.
So exactly. So
we'll see.
We will see. And there's so much rumor going around, folks, about who's going to appear in the final and who's not going to appear. And you know what? We're a week away from the first part of the final. So enjoy the ride, as we like to say.
For once, we don't have to wait 2 years.
Oh, thank God. But it's sad because I've gotten used to every Friday night at 7 being able to watch new Doctor Who.
Yeah,
and then, come the end of June, it'll be the Wild West again.
But then it's only 6 months or
till the Christmas special.
5 months at that point to the Christmas special. So,
so
2 years in between every season.
Well,
I'm glad we don't have to do that anymore. At least for the foreseeable future.
For the foreseeable future. Good. And so it'll be very interesting to see what we get. And I've not been this excited about a Doctor Who final for quite a few years. So I think that'll be pretty awesome. And
was that an early Chibnall dig?
Why, yes, it is.
I'm just trying to set my Chibnall clock.
Yeah. That's number one for the night.
17 minutes and 35 seconds.
The Chibnall Doomsday Clock is now at 1.
Exactly. Ding.
Or is that one of those things we put on the podcast? It has been this many minutes since we've done a Chibnall bash.
No, I've actually started posting a picture every time. It's now time for a Chibnall bash up on the video version of this. So.
Well, I think we actually recorded last week without one, if I'm not mistaken. I think we didn't have an actual.
We did not have one Chibnall bash
last year.
That shows you how good an episode it was.
That's how amazed we all were. Yes, so
exactly. We didn't have to bring his name up, so it was interesting. One of the things I did notice about this week's episode in the UK. You got a William Russell memorial at the end of the episode, where in the States you did not.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame that they did not do that.
I don't know why they didn't do it in the States, because they should have.
Yeah.
I can only assume it was a decision because nobody would know who that is outside of Britain, unless you're a Doctor Who fan.
It shouldn't matter.
It shouldn't matter. It should not matter. No,
but I mean, most people wouldn't have seen it anyway because they aired it right at the end, the very end. So, I mean, not a lot of people stay to the end credits. So, they should have put it somewhere a little bit more prominently. They should have put it at the beginning of the episode. Really, is my feeling. But
I don't disagree with you on that.
I wonder if it was something that they had. Sorry, I was wondering if it was something that they over there they were able to edit it separately to add it on, and that way when they were doing their airing, they had they had the footage of the Doctor Who episode. They were able to air it. Then they were able to quickly make this. They already had this other thing.
Completely,
but then
they did.
But then for the Disney stream, them going, oh, well, here it is. We're just going to go. And nobody thought, oh, maybe we should make something. Didn't even pass their minds.
Well, you have to realize,
I
like when you watch it
Russell,
on Disney
it's a
Plus.
Russell fail.
No.
Yes, he's in charge. He should make sure that it's there, and he should make sure that it's there in the beginning. It's a failure on his part. I'm not saying it's a offense that's worth him like getting removed from his job or anything, but I lay it all at his feet. He's the guy in charge.
He is. I agree with that.
If he said, you have to put this on the episode in the beginning of the episode, then they would put it at the beginning of the episode. If he says, I don't care, then they do what they want.
Well,
can't disagree with that.
No. I'll be, but
I don't know if that's fair or not. I don't think we really know enough about how this works and how things are delivered, and
because they might have already had that episode weeks in advance at Disney.
But he hasn't done anything to apologize for it.
No, and I don't think he needs to, truthfully. So, all right, so that's it for news. And before we start just screaming at each other, let's hop right into the episode tonight.
Oh, this is so Bridgerton. Lord Barton approaches. Oh, let's talk less of heartbreak.
There's a shoulder at work on this planet, and I've been paid good money to find you.
What could be better than a wedding?
I think, this is going to be a fun review. And we're talking all about Rogue. And I thought it was a ton of fun. It was, going back to the early 1800s, 1813 to be exact. And it was, as Ruby kept on putting it in the episode, it's so Bridgerton. So it was just like.
Now, does anybody here, have they watched Bridgerton?
I have not.
Nope.
I haven't.
No conversations over Bridgerton?
I can neither confirm nor deny that it is. although I do know that even Russell T called it the Bridgerton episode. He said they used costumes from Bridgerton. They used the same choreographer as Bridgerton. So it actually says one of the characters in the actual thing itself says it's like Bridgerton. So I assume that it's like Bridgerton, but I have no personal direct knowledge of that myself.
I was just having a conversation about it before we came onto this call. And yeah, basically Bridgerton is a romance novel on TV. Yep, that tracks with this episode in every way. And it's ye old Gossip Girl. Yep, nope, that tracks in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I just know Bridgerton from social media memes and Tumblr memes and other people, and seeing all the different types of cross promotion that you can buy at your local Bath and Body Works. That's Bridgerton scented everything. So I kind of was like, okay, I got the vibe. We're good. Think romance novel.
Judy tried watching the first episode of it, and she said basically, I couldn't do it. It's not for me.
Not for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very sort of Regency romance novel, which this certainly was.
Exactly, and so it was interesting. Let's get initial thoughts about Rogue. Dave, your initial thoughts.
This is one of the most Doctor Who episodes we've had this season.
Okay,
it is minus the romance novel aspect of it. This hits all of the classical Doctor Who notes, really.
Right. No, that totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. Melanie.
Other than the look and feel that I know of Bridgerton, so that, and I'm saying that all the time, I was really getting a lot of Girl in the Fireplace kind of vibes at first with this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of getting. And it feels Doctor Who. It feels like a nice, for me, it's like we're back. I feel like, again, I'm not a Regency romance person. I'm not that part. I was like, oh, this might not sing to me. But then I quickly realized, no, this is a Doctor Who episode with just that window dressing that's steeped in we're having a historical Doctor Who episode. Let's go. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Awesome. Mary.
To be honest, I watched this episode twice. The first time I watched it, I was sort of like, well, that was kind of middle of the road. It didn't excite me that much, to be very honest about it. And but then I watched it again, and the second time around, I really loved it. And I think it's because the development of Rogue's character is so rushed. You learn almost nothing about him, and it just was kind of. And I don't have anything against the romance in the TARDIS, frankly, but it just felt so rushed to kind of put me off. And the second time, since I kind of knew what was coming, and it was easier for me to watch all the nuances, because I will say, between Shooty and Jonathan, man, they are acting up a storm. All those little glances, the way they almost touch each other, the way they sort of float around each other. That was amazing. That was fantastic. So on second watch, I loved it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Mr. Mike.
I thought it was okay. Maybe it's because I only saw it once, Mary. But
see, that's the secret.
Dave and Melanie, kind of the thing that I think they clued in on, that they really, really loved about this, I didn't like. It was too formulaic for Doctor Who. It was too much of stuff we've seen before. It was too much of and so that kind of disappointed me. I mean, I didn't hate it, but a lot of it I'd seen before. Except of course some of the things that I hadn't, which, I think was the purpose of this episode. But it's sort of, this sort of romance based around this sort of really safe Doctor Who story. And I kind of wish that it had been a little bit more daring, especially from two people who were not Russell T Davies or Stephen Moffat. Like, we have new people coming in and writing this, but it almost sounds like Russell, made them, craft a Doctor Who story instead of telling a story that was uniquely them. So I didn't feel like... So I liked a lot of it. It was fine. There's some really fun moments. It was shot really well, looked really well, acted beautifully. I mean... Yeah, but there were just too much familiar elements for me to really give this a high grade.
Okay. Fair enough. Good night, folks. That's the episode. No.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. Okay. Now, I enjoyed it. I've watched it twice, just like Mary, and because I wanted to catch some of the nuances and take my notes and everything, because I like watching it the first time raw and go through it. And then I go through and I start dissecting it the second time and making notes, making comments, and, trying to do it. This episode to me felt the most, like folks here said, the most Doctor Who. It feels like this is the first foray into RTD's first era of Doctor Who. It felt like Girl in the Fireplace. And it was like, oh, will the Clockwork Men show up? That would just be awesome, or it had the feel of, that it could have been Tennant as the Doctor. Mm-hmm. It could have, easily been in that era. And it was, instead of Ruby, it could have been Martha very easily. And it was just a ton of fun with it. And I enjoyed a lot of the story. The character of Rogue, Jonathan Groff, was just amazing as Rogue. And I loved the chemistry between him and Shooty. And I hope he comes back and, replays the character. I hope his story's not done. And, that the Doctor does find him, or there's a twist to his character. Me being always the cynic, I always expected, in the final scene, him turn into, how did you know I was a bird also? Or something, and it was just interesting. But I loved the costumes of the Cholder. They were amazing, and the bird costumes. And I loved how each one looked different. They weren't like the Jadoon or God say it, those damn farting aliens or something, you know, type thing. And I got that kind of feel though, you know, when they were stealing the people's bodies and stuff, that they were, you know, as they said, they were cosplaying and everything. But I got the, you know, the characters, you know, from the World War III episode, and, you know, or, you know, as I just like to say, the farting aliens. So it's just like, but it was interesting. And I liked how the story was. I loved how the Doctor and Ruby were already there at the beginning of the episode. And, you know, you didn't see him say, oh, there's something strange going on here. We've got to blend in and change into costumes. They were already in the middle of it and everything, dancing away. And so I thought that was pretty cool. So
yeah, I have a feeling that if you are a Bridgerton fan, that this episode came across to you in a different way. And that was probably an awful lot of fun seeing a parody of Bridgerton and all those tropes.
And from what I hear from folks who do watch it, there's a lot of little Easter eggs and a little nudge and winks for the people who watch the series. Even I've heard that the episode starts, this episode starts like the very first season of Bridgerton with, you know, oh, you rogue, you've been sleeping around with my sister, and, you know, you've been defiling her, you don't want to marry her. We have to have a duel. That's right from the very first season and everything. So, you know, us who don't watch it have no clue, you know, so.
But it still felt right.
Yeah.
That's
very much so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It still works.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Exactly.
how at first Rogue was looking for only one person, or one, you know, bird person.
Right.
And then it starts becoming more and more. And when I realized that they were kind of doing that little body snatcher thing, my own brain shifted from Girl in the Fireplace to Family of Blood.
Oh, very much so. Yes.
Yeah. I got that. Yeah, I got that too.
This has got a Family of Blood vibe to it, big time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was one of, again, it's like we've seen all of this before.
Yeah, but for me at least, I and like I absolutely get how you're like, wait, no, this is almost too formulaic and too this, and absolute amazing, you know, spot on points. For me, I did kind of like that familiarity after having the last 3 episodes, especially the last one where I had a big like neck kind of jaw dropping of when we realized how Lindy is a little. So I kind of felt nice going, okay, I'm just gonna have a nice science fiction-y kind of we're rolling with the trope. But I did like the little twist where I didn't realize that there was the extra family member at the end, where we realized that the girl who was picking up the word of okay and TV, and realizing she was another one. I'm like, oh, okay, I have a light twist.
Do you think she was
actually surprised
throughout
by
the whole thing? Or do you think she got changed? When Ruby first meets her, do you think she was one?
Yes.
Then?
I don't think
I think so. Yeah,
I think so,
not
because
really
Ruby
off camera alone enough.
Yeah. Ruby
Otherwise-
was with her pretty much the whole time after that.
And
point.
that if their whole thing was cosplaying drama, here she is cosplaying drama with the other guy of saying, oh, but you're going to leave me, and because I liked how Ruby's watching it from the bookcase, like she's watching TV, she's watching it unfold, like, you know, with her little gasps in here like this through the bookshelf. And I think that they both absolutely were, because here they are completely committed to the cosplaying of he's going to leave her and he's going to marry her, and they were going to have their moment, and they were just fully in the scene.
They were fully in cosplay and everything. And that's like, and I loved how the Duchess was like, I want to be Ruby next.
and to your point, Melanie, that, we've had a few episodes that have been kind of groundbreaking, and we're about to go into probably a game changer of a finale.
Yeah.
So it's not a bad idea to have the calm before the storm, if you will, like a safe episode, right? That doesn't sort of rock too many boats. So I get that. And like I said, I don't hate it for it. It just disappointed me. But I think my biggest issue with that, though, is the character of Rogue himself, which just feels to me, and I understand why there was some confusion at the beginning, and even now there's speculation that it was just a weak imitation of Captain Jack. Like he just is too much like Captain Jack. Jonathan Groff is an amazing actor, and I think he's capable of a lot more. But I just like to have him come and play someone who is just, I mean, every single scene that he's in, I'm just like, yeah, that's a Captain Jack thing. That's a Captain Jack thing. And I'm just like, if he is Captain Jack, like, I don't know. I don't care, to be honest with you, because I'm just like, I'm so opposed to having a character replace John Barrowman's character that I think I was just sort of had my defenses up. But at the end of the day, I was kind of like, he's not anything new. And the Doctor, if he's going to get involved with somebody, I just wish it would be somebody more interesting than somebody that we've seen before.
He seemed like a hybrid between River Song and Captain Jack in a lot of ways. And it was interesting. And I agree, he was not an original character. But with that being said, I liked his character quite a bit. I thought his character was very roguish, no pun intended. I loved that, he was brooding, and I love the stark contrast between his spaceship and the TARDIS, which was, was a total wreck inside. It was a mess. And I loved how, the Doctor says, you got your name from playing D&D, didn't you? I just love that when he spotted the dice. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was great. The whole interaction between them on the spaceship was just fantastic. And I thought it was brilliant writing, and I thought it was just a lot of fun. I loved the Sonic when he showed him the psychic paper, and it said, you're hot. And it said,
also not a new shtick.
No, I loved it though.
Still so funny. Exactly.
Yes, exactly. It worked. And that's what I loved about it. And I thought it was great. And then you had, the whole thing with Kylie Minogue's music playing.
Yep. Yeah, that was great.
That was just awesome. And the Doctor lip syncing to it and everything. Yeah. It was fun. And that's what I loved. And that's second Chibnall batch coming. That's what we've been missing on Doctor Who, damn it. So
Ding.
Exactly.
Yep.
So, and it was fun. And this was a fun episode. And that's why I think I enjoyed it as much. Yes, like Mike said, it's not the most original storyline. It's not the most original characters, but it was fun and it was done really well. And it was, but Ncuti once again knocks it out of the ballpark as the Doctor. And, and Millie is great as Ruby, but there was times I felt like she was almost forgotten. It was like, oh, that's the second storyline. Oh yeah, I guess we better go back to that because we were focusing too much on the Doctor and Rogue.
So I think that was the point, though. I mean, I think one of the points of this is that this is why the Doctor usually doesn't get involved on a personal level with other characters, is because when he does so, he's distracted, and when he's distracted, people die. And he's he's very lucky. I'll say lucky. He's very lucky that Ruby's still around. Because yes. I mean, he took his eye off the ball, and she almost paid the price for it. It just so happened. It wasn't like he was 10 steps ahead or anything like that. He was really almost from the moment he set eyes on Rogue, he was distracted in a way that we don't see very often. And I thought it was an interesting kind of sort of play on. I love what Ncuti's doing. And I love the fact that he's a different Doctor, that he cries, that he sings, that he dances, that he enjoys himself, that he allows himself to fall in love, that he opens up to people. And it's throwing a lot of people off. Not just the fact that Nishudi's personal life is throwing people off, but this is a different kind of doctor that we've ever seen, and I do love that about this. So don't get me wrong on that. I think he's doing an amazing job, and he's allowed to do things as the doctor that we haven't seen before, which I really, really appreciate. I mean, you compare this to somebody coming, like one of the other characters, like coming on to Matt Smith Doctor, and it's just he just puts up a wall, like that's not going to happen. But here it's allowed, and you can sort of have something to play with, but there is a danger to it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that danger almost came out, though, because there was a moment in there where he realizes that he dropped the ball here.
Yes.
And he's like, how long do these things live? That's not long enough for what I'm about to deal with.
That was a family of blood moment right there.
Yeah.
Where he was
I felt that exactly. Exactly.
Yes. And we haven't seen that from this doctor very often.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but he also at that point thought that Ruby had been killed by the bird people.
Yeah.
And everything, and he was out for blood at that point.
Yeah, he's mad.
Oh, yeah. And I loved seeing that, and seeing Shudi take the reins with that and run with it, even though it didn't last long. When he realized that, hey, that is Ruby, type thing, and I loved battle mode on the psychic earrings. That was just awesome.
Lovely.
Yes.
They set it up in the beginning, so it pays off at the end.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think a lot of good job at subverting a lot of expectations in it, right? Whether it's the stuff that they set up, but then there's also the run moment where Rogue goes, "Run." No, I say that.
Exactly. And
there was a lot of those little
the
moments
doctor's
like
hand the same exact way. Exactly. And that was just great. And
it was a very formulaic thing, but they had these moments of just wait, what? Blink, and it's this is not what it was. You constantly had these little bits getting thrown in on top of the formula, twisting things around and keeping it very, very fresh feeling for me. And I certainly don't disagree with. Nothing in this was breathtakingly shocking. As far as no, not entirely true, but as far as plot points go, we kind of expect all of this.
This was not even the first time the Doctor has had a same-sex kiss either. No. And so many people were like, "Oh my God, can't believe the Doctor actually kissed another guy." And it's like
Nine and Jack.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly where I was going.
Ten and Jack, too, didn't it? Wasn't there one? Didn't we get one on camera with Ten and Jack as well?
Yeah, when he's saying goodbye with Martha, because
yes,
I think, yeah.
But I honestly think he's had more same-sex kisses on camera than not.
Yeah,
off the top of my head, I actually think legitimately, if I need to go in and count this, because I think that might be the case.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's just the kisses were.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd say that.
It wasn't that big of a deal, truthfully. And,
well, it shouldn't be.
No, it wasn't.
It's still, it is a
big deal, Mike, but it shouldn't be.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, people, it's 2024. Get over it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wish it was that easy.
I know.
Yeah.
But I have faith in our listeners.
It's obviously not, because there's still a lot of hate out there. I'm still seeing plenty of hate.
But kudos to Russell and the entire crew, Disney included, for letting this be, because there is a lot of crap out there, and any of those agencies could have easily said, "No, we're not comfortable with this," and yet they're all on board with it. So I give them a lot of credit all across the board. BBC, Russell T, everybody involved with this.
Even Disney.
Disney, because they don't they don't have to do this, and yet they're doing it, and I think that's a good thing.
Yep, exactly. It's interesting though, because there were so many different processes in the story. You had the whole dance sequences, which were gorgeous. The costumes, gorgeous. The special effects with the bird people, the transformations was wonderful. Even when they had the bodies, when they were lifting up the bodies and the lightning was, when transforming, that was really well done, and, God, 10 years ago, you probably wouldn't have been able to do that on Doctor Who.
No.
Yeah.
And everything.
I mean, the direction in this is really good too. It's the same one who directed Devil's Cord.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they did a great job both times. Also, I in counterpoint, I don't think Rogue is actually that much like Captain Jack, his personality wise. I understand the similarity between like Bounty Hunter and Time Agent, but like Rogue is much quieter. He's not out there flirting with everyone. And when he's doing the fight scene, the fake fight scene with the Doctor, well, Captain Jack would have leaned right into that. He would have had no problem at all fighting with the Doctor.
Well, exactly.
And Rogue has no idea what to do.
No,
that's true. I mean, Captain Jack is a lot more of himself, but I think there were rumors that this was a younger Jack, and et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, there were all sorts of rumors. So I don't mean to and speculate, but I mean, just physically and a lot of other ways. I mean, it was really, really in my face about how much like Captain Jack Rogue was.
The rumors were anywhere with Rogue that he was recast Jack Harkness, but he was also possibly a pre-Hartnell Doctor, or he was another Time Lord, or that he was possibly even the monk.
Lorani?
Well, there was a lot of rumor going around that the Duchess was actually was wrong.
The Shulka Doctor.
I mean, let's just bring out the multiple choice. Let's check
exactly.
them all
let's
off.
Go through the checklist tonight.
Exactly.
Everything.
So, and also we haven't mentioned her yet, but got to give props to seeing Indira Varma again. Mm-hmm. She is just amazing, and she is more than up for the challenge of playing a baddie. We've seen it before, but this is a different kind of baddie for her. Kudos to her for putting up with all that makeup, because we know that's not easy. And yet she just comes in and just nails it, and it's so fun. She chews up scenery. She's just wonderful. She's just wonderful.
I loved it when she was breaking into the room and she was speaking French, then German, and it was just switching through. And then walked up to that one gentleman and stared him down, and he passed out on her and everything, which was just awesome.
Great. I'm sure it leads a lot of people to make some sort of connection between the Duchess and Susie from Torchwood. But I mean, I'll leave that to other people. I just don't think there's really anything to that.
There's no connection.
Oh, they'll make a connection.
Oh, I know, but there is not.
They want them to.
Yes.
The fans will make a connection. Big Finish will make a connection. So there'll be connections, because they always, this happens so many times. They'll always do it. But
there's
it's
always
fun.
a twist at the end, of course.
If that's the fun of it, then that people have fun with that. That's fine. But I don't want to put any more to it than that. But it's just good to see. I'm glad again that they don't shy away from hiring someone like her just because they've used her before.
No, exactly, and that's the way it should be. I'm glad they brought her back as a new character, and I really liked her in it. And you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing that character again. So, or have her play another role. Susan Twist is playing how many roles?
Yeah.
So we do get our Twist fix.
We do. She's a painting of the Duchess's grandmother.
And again, she's playing
the
a motherly
Duke's grandmother.
figure.
Sorry. Yes.
And again, she's playing a motherly figure. Still no clue. I mean, from the scenes going into next week, we know that she's going to be featured prominently. Maybe we'll get some answers. But, right now, it just seems like it's still just one of those things that I can't make heads or tails out of. I don't know what it means or what significance it has. But it's, I don't know. I guess it's intriguing, but it doesn't I don't, I notice it and then I just move on. I don't really try to worry myself about it.
Well, there's no rhyme or reason for the appearances. There's, we'll probably in the final episode when they explain it all, we'll go, oh, that was it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's the danger of it, right? I mean, Russell T's setting himself up to, okay, I'm going to, everybody's going to want an explanation. And if he, when they get it, are they going to be satisfied? So that's the big setup. That's the big challenge that Russell has in front of him. Sometimes he sticks the landing with finales. Sometimes he doesn't. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. But, I don't certainly have anything against it. It's just one of those things that I just go, oh, there she is, and then move on.
Until the last couple of episodes when they started realizing that they've seen this woman before.
Right.
The best explanation that I had, I wish they could have gone with, is there is no explanation. She's just there. They never reference it. And maybe like 3 years from now,
that would drive too many people crazy. They couldn't do that, Dave. They couldn't do that,
exactly.
That's one thing they couldn't do.
Oh, they totally could. And he is enough of a jerk. RTD would just salivate going, I don't leaving this.
That is true. RTD would love to do something
he
like
would
that.
Absolutely love to do that.
And it just becomes a Stan Lee figure.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. But,
no, not anymore. Now that they've started actively recognizing and bringing it up, no, that's gone. But it was just before they started doing that.
Now, see,
that is something that had come up.
If they put her as one of the heads around the doctor, then I would have been like, why?
Exactly. Well, let's jump in with the heads. That was really interesting, and I loved, you're a shape changer, which is technically true.
Sure.
Yeah. And I love then he threw the psychic paper at the machine and, it activated and then brought up Tennant's face and then started doing the parade of past doctors. And I'll admit it, the first time I saw it, I was more excited to see the fugitive doctor in there. And I was like, why is she in that order? Like right between, and then I was like, wait a minute, because Mike Faulkner actually wrote me, have you seen the episode yet? Have you seen the head? And it's like, what head? So I had to rewind and go through it real quick. And there he was, Richard E. Grant. I was like, oh.
I didn't notice it when I saw it either. And then I saw someone online said, all they did was, I don't know who it was. All they posted was, well, I guess Curse of the Fatal Death is now in canon. And I was like, what? And I was like, I must have really missed something. And
we just missed the scene where Roland Atkinson's doctor was in there.
I'm like,
Joanna
what?
Lindley and Hugh Grant,
Jim Broadbent, and all that. Yeah, I'm like, I don't. Yeah, and then of course, I saw it and I was like, okay, well, that's fun, but please let's not make this a big deal. And of course,
I could see RTD never referring to that again.
Absolutely, absolutely,
leaving it.
Yeah.
I was hoping that
I went back to watch all the different heads. I'm like, is there a curator? No. No curator. Although they used a Tennant with the really, because at first when I saw him, he had like the really bad hair, and I realized it was the picture. It was him from the 50th.
Yes.
With the really flat hair. I was like, wait a minute, why does he look weird? I'm like, oh, wait.
And I couldn't tell because they were kind of all a little bit cut off if it was a more current Colin Baker. Because that did not really, I almost, who was that? Oh, that's Colin Baker. Because he didn't have his bigger period hair in that.
No, it was Colin Baker from Dimensions in Time. What do you mean?
Yeah.
It's it's an older Richard E. Grant too, which is kind of interesting.
Well, it's been confirmed that Richard E. Grant recently came in to do that shot. He came up.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't reflect his time, quote unquote, as the Doctor whenever he's played him before.
No, but he was animated, so what are they going to do?
Well, I don't know. Like I said, it's one of those things that Russell puts in. He's having fun. He's poking at the fans a little bit, but he's doing it with a smile on his face. But he's really going, everybody's going to be talking about this. and they're not going to be. Then they're going to miss this.
They're going to miss this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I mean that's Russell likes to like go, hey, look up here, and then just punch you like in the gut. Like he I mean, not in a bad way sometimes, but like
He's
for
laughing.
example, watching
I would be too.
watching the official podcast, they were doing their preview of next week, and Russell's preview of next week, he actually said like, so be very careful in the next episode. In the next episode, be very careful and pay attention to the system that unit is using. Triad, like that is really going to be very, very important. And even the people, like after they showed that clip, or they showed the clip of the TARDIS arriving in unit, and then they cut back, and even the people who were part of the original podcast were like, that's just Russell going, you know what, that's not going to mean anything. Like, that's not what you really should be paying attention. If you're paying attention to the fact that it's called a triad system, which is an anagram for TARDIS, by the way, like that doesn't, like, it's not, like, that's not what you're really going to be paying attention to, because like there's going to be stuff happening all across the board that is really going to floor you.
With that misdirection in that specific scene in the ship, he also goes, well, it's all gotten worse since I got a new boss.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we've got this throwaway line, which is not the first time. Wail you hear from the boss.
The boss.
Going back.
Yeah,
right.
you go back
the
to
first time we've had that.
the Star Beast, you know, and everything.
Exactly.
The boss is going to be very interesting to meet you, you know.
And with a less obvious thing, that ship looked very Egyptian bird.
Yeah, I have that in my notes. Very bird-like, very like a beak and the wings and everything. It was just really interesting to see. And I was more thinking it was tying into the bird people and everything. And that's why I was thinking that. But no, you're exactly right. It does look very Egyptian. And that might tie into what we talked about earlier. So, you know,
there's an even more subtle throwback to that too. In the time tunnel in Pyramid of Mars has this weird, like, multicolored strobe thing that looks an awful lot like an older version of all of the marketing from the early stuff for this season with the swoopy colors. That's probably just dumb coincidence. What is it?
Yeah, just like we're listening to Kylie Minogue, who obviously has ties to Doctor Who, having been a Doctor Who character. It's like, is this mean something? Like, Russell's throwing so much stuff at you.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Even the Dungeons and Dragons dice, you could say, well, does that tie back into the toy maker?
Well,
because there's games.
Very much so.
I mean,
That's exactly what I was thinking. You could go
down a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah. Apparently, there was something in this about. I don't know. On the podcast, they were saying that there was some reference to. I didn't ever watch the Sarah Jane Adventures, but a character called the Trickster. I think we've mentioned before.
We've talked about him multiple times, yeah.
And so I didn't. I obviously that flew by me. I didn't get that, so I don't know if that's something that's going to happen or not. But
the Trickster looks very similar to the character we've seen who dropped Ruby off at the church. And so it'll be very interesting to see what comes of that. And because there's more to Ruby than the eyes, you know, leading on and everything. So it'll be very curious to see what that. A couple of little other Easter eggs that, you know, I don't know, some people missed or stuff, was the modern music being played at the at the dance.
And that's a Bridgerton thing, apparently.
Very much so. That's what my friend who watches it actually said. You know, they've actually used the Billie Eilish, you know, Bad Boy. And because that's what they were playing when the Doctor met Rogue the first time. And
Bad Guy.
Bad Guy. But then you also, during the fight with the bird person and Ruby, they had the poker face playing.
Yeah, that was great.
And everything, which was really awesome. But that was right out of Bridgerton, from what I've heard. So, you know, there was just a lot of good touches in this one. And, you know, So
they paid for the rights of Kylie Minogue, Billie Eilish, and Lady Gaga, but they couldn't afford a Beatles song.
Yes.
Yeah, they're cheaper.
Yes, there are all
you,
three of those cheaper. Don't even come to a fifth of what a Beatles song costs.
Yeah.
And so,
does the Michael Jackson estate still have the Beatles songs?
Paul McCartney has it back.
Oh, he got them back. Okay.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Which just upped the price even more.
Even more.
Exactly. And I guess Paul is not a Doctor Who fan, so.
I just found out this is really tangential, but I just found out the other day that the Queen Library is owned by Disney, and I was like, wow. Because they've been showing some of the Queen concerts on Disney Plus. They've been available. I'm like, this is weird. Why are they here? And Michelle said, because Disney owns the rights to.
Well, there you go.
I was like, whoa, that's weird.
Also, I loved when.
So expect to hear Queen and Doctor Who now.
Yeah.
I loved it when Rogue went into the TARDIS the first time, and he got the typical reaction, "Oh my God!" But the Doctor was singing "Pure Imagination."
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah. That was just awesome.
That was maybe the highlight of the episode for me, because that was really cool. Because the ties between Wonka and Time Lords are like, I mean, that's been a thing that
for
fans
many years. Yes,
and there's another tie too. In that when Ncuti was just getting cast for Doctor Who, he said, "Hey, I would really love it. I could play the Doctor or Willy Wonka." That's literally what he told his agent right before being told, "Yeah, RTD wants you to come out for the Doctor." So I think that was also a nice little toss to him as well for that.
I can do both.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So I think overall, I think it was fun. And I think it gives us, it doesn't give us like any food for thought, like what is the season leading to. And I loved it. Loved it. The highlight for me was the Doctor trying to play it stoic after everything that happened. And Ruby was like, no.
Nope, we're not doing that anymore.
We're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
And, and gave him the huge hug. And it was like, I think that was the coming together of the Doctor and Ruby. This was, it's like, I've always liked them together.
To come apart.
Exactly. But I thought it was, how everyone always says they have the Doctor moment. This is the Doctor and companion moment of the season. I thought was that point. The Doctor, Ruby literally standing up to the Doctor saying, you're not going to fake it and hide your pain. Let it out. You're supposed to be new and improved anyway. So.
Yeah. And other doctors would have just like shrugged her off and just went right into the TARDIS. But he actually stayed and shared the moment with her, which is, a difference of his performance and the way that this Doctor is being written, which I really, really like. I also really noticed too when the bird people were punished, so to speak, and of course Rogue goes with them, and Ruby's like, "Are you going to look for him?" He's like, "Well, he could be anywhere in any dimension and everything like that." That seems to be a thing now, and it's hard for me to get used to, because there'd been so much in Doctor Who where we didn't really play around with other dimensions that much. And now it's like a definite thing where it's like, nope, he's in another dimension. And that's just like, we wouldn't, be able to find him.
There's as many dimensions out there as there are atoms in our universe.
Which is, that usually hasn't been the answer.
No, because the answer is always Pete's World, and then we're going to see Rose again, and I get to watch Mike Faber not be happy.
Exactly.
Rose back. And thank you, everyone. This was my last episode. Good night.
It's been nice knowing
you went
Melanie.
out with a style, Melanie. You went out with a bang. Way to go.
Exactly. It's so nice to know her. Too bad she's gone. So, any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one tonight?
Except now I really want to see an episode with Ncudi's Doctor meeting Freddie Mercury. No, I think I'm done.
I don't think that's asking too much.
No, not at all. No.
Make it happen, RTD. Next season.
Yeah, of course.
That'd be a
all right,
Christmas
let's
special.
go ahead and rate this one. 1 out of 5 TARDISes. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Mary, you're going first tonight.
I think I'm going to give this one a 4. I mean, I think it's a very good episode. I think it does rush the whole thing between the Doctor and Rogue, though I will say the two actors are great and have great chemistry, and they do really sell it. So to me, it's not quite up there with the last two episodes we just saw, but I still think it's a really good episode. I still love this whole season. Maybe except for Space Babies, but all the rest of it I have really enjoyed. And it's the people they're getting, the look of it, the direction, the scripts we're getting, it's just all coming together in a way that it did not. And here's the next Chibnall Bash in the last season, because I missed that so much. Everything kind of hanging together and just being able to sit back and enjoy the ride, enjoy the cosmic joyride, Disney.
Exactly.
So another really good episode. I'm just very excited for the finale and well-deserved 4.
Okay. Dave.
I'm torn between 4.5 and 4.25 because I can't help but think that there is going to be more to this episode that we just didn't see when the rest of everything else gets revealed. And I think it will improve when that happens, which is why I'm like, where do you go from, a 4.5 except to 5? And I don't think it's 5. So I'm going to say 4.25, but knowing that I expect that it will actually be a 4.5 within the next few weeks.
Okay. Fair enough. Mr. Gordon.
Solid 3. Like I said, it's fine. It was well done, so to speak. But ultimately I felt like, this was kind of a safe space, in between, some challenging ones, some more challenging stories that, will hopefully be the case for the finale. I'm excited for the finale. I'm really, really, like you said, Mike, I'm probably more excited than I've been in a long time. And we can take that as a Chibnall Bash too. But I really enjoyed it. But it's not among my favorites of the year, but it's not the lowest either.
Okay. Fair enough.
If this were done in the Chibnall era, it'd be a 5.
Okay. But it's not. So there you go. All right.
It's all relative.
I guess we'll let Melanie go now because it's her last episode.
Well, okay, so I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. I don't think after such stellar episodes we just had that I'm to rank it as high as a 5. It was, to me, it was a good palate cleanser after, having everything and not having to think, and I was able just to sit back and relax and enjoy. But I'm giving it a 4.5 because I don't want to give it a 4 because it really was just so well executed, where I thought everything was solid. Another part where it was like the lighting at one point where the two of them were dancing and everything slowly just faded away into the lighting was just them, and they were still spinning and you were still getting great dramatic light on their faces. Was very theatrical, and so there was just so many key parts on this, both writing and technically and all that fun stuff and the music. I'm going to give it a solid 4.5. I could see myself watching this again to pick things out, and especially if you're a Bridgerton fan, this is your wheelhouse. But even though I'm not, never watched it, I still loved it. So yeah, I'm going to go 4.5.
Okay. Very cool. For me, I'm going to give it a solid 4. I enjoyed it. I thought it was entertaining. I've watched it twice already, and I liked it just as much the second time, maybe a little bit more, because I was like being nitpicky because I was doing my notes and, watching it and having the fun with it. And it's interesting that Mary said you felt like it was rushed with, Rogue and the Doctor. I've met people at clubs or bars where the chemistry was instantaneous and within 45 minutes, I'd be sucking face with them or, worse, something else,
Yeah,
and
but the thing is, that's not what it felt like they were portraying to me.
No.
They weren't just saying, "Oh, well, this is just sex." To me,
No,
they were implying that there was already something beyond that, and I'm not sure that.
No, but the thing is, for me, some of it wasn't just all sex. Some of it was chemistry, and people. One of them is still 35 years later, she's one of my best friends. And, but we had the chemistry.
Yeah, but that really developed along the way.
Well,
I mean, yes,
we dated for quite some time from, a hookup, and we knew almost instantaneous that, we had to slow it down because, it was instantaneous, like boom, and it's possible. And I didn't disbelieve it, and it was okay I liked seeing it hit the doctor for once. And, because it's always a lot of times.
They certainly did it well. They did, yeah.
And, it's always the companion this happens to and stuff.
The chemistry between them was definitely believable.
Mm-hmm. It was very believable, and that's what I liked about it. And I've said what I've liked about it. I love the period piece. It's not going to make me watch Bridgerton, but I love the period piece and everything. We've seen that house before, I think, on Doctor Who. And it looked real familiar.
They said they shot it in it before. Outside, they used 3 separate locations for the interiors and the exteriors. And in the making of, they talk about where they've shot before and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so if you're into it, you can find that out. But yeah, it has been used before.
It had, because it just had that familiar look. At
same
first,
actors, same sets, the same. They used another group's costumes. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, why not? It wasn't Downton Abbey for sure, but it was.
That's next. That's next season.
Exactly.
That'll be in my wheelhouse. I'll get those references.
Yeah, exactly. But it was interesting, and it was fun, and that's what we needed with this. And, you're allowed to have a slower paced, and it was compared to the shock value we got last week. And then, the episodes before that were just awesome, it's like Mary said, it is shaping up to be one of the better seasons in quite some time. Thank you, Chibnall. And, so it's just interesting to see that. But, what did you guys think at home? Did you like it? Did you not? There's a lot of opinions about it out there. So we definitely would love to hear from you guys. So please, let us know. feedback@ourstationwho.com. Best way to do it and everything. We'll read your reviews up on the air, as we always like to do. And of course, as we like to say, we've got a wonderful Facebook group where we talk about all this type of stuff all the time, including putting different pictures of Richard E. Grant up on the page, like, oh my God, it's him, type thing. So I think it's a ton of fun. And I've seen actually people, who did Photoshop and post pictures of, Mr. Bean as the doctor and, all the different ones showing it's like, it's all canon now. So it's like, okay, whatever. So it's, it's just fun, folks. And 2 more episodes left, folks. Where is this going to go? What is going to happen? We're getting Unit back. We're getting Mel back. And you know what? I'm going to be very curious to see what the legend of Ruby Sunday is. But till then, let us thank our crew for being here tonight. Dave, thank you as always, my friend.
Thank you. I'm always thrilled to be here.
You want to promote your stuff, my friend?
Oh, always. You can find me at therathole.ca, either with a period in there or with DOT, depending on your URL platform. You'll be able to find me in Columbus at Origins Game Fair. Hopefully, as my 60th anniversary Doctor Who role-playing game books got up for an Origins Awards. So I will be
Congratulations.
there to probably lose that. And of course, we'll have live watch parties over in the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, sometimes with Melanie as well. So you can always please join us for that. And
that's where you'll be able to find her from now on. So it's perfect.
Yeah, that's the only place you'll find her from now on.
Bye.
Exactly. So, Ms. Melanie Dean, where can people find your stuff?
So, I guess from now on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, along with Dave and other people. Otherwise, if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area, I got the fun honor of being one of the artists in the 100 Women Artists Now and Then exhibit at the Dunedin Fine Arts Center. We're celebrating
Congratulations.
100. Thank you. So it's just a large exhibit celebrating 100 women in art history. So if you're around, please go check that out. Otherwise, you can find me online on Instagram at Pieces of Melee.
Yay. And of course, let's thank our regulars for being here. Mr. Mike Gordon, we've made it through another one, sir.
We did, and as always, it's my pleasure.
Always great to talk to you, sir.
Oh, can I push something?
Of course you can push something.
Sorry, I just remembered. I'm part of a current Kickstarter that's going on right now for an anthology book put together by James Palmer of Mechanoid Press called Southern Fried Cthulhu, which is a bunch of what if Lovecraft had written a lot of stories in the South instead of in the New England area, which he is known for. And so some of them are a bit tongue-in-cheek, certainly mine is, and had a lot of fun writing my story and submitted it last week. And it's part of the book. A lot of other creative people are involved as well, and it's got a great cover. So if you do Kickstarter, if you crowdfund, please go to Kickstarter.com, pull up Southern Fried Cthulhu. There's links on my social media to it as well. You should be able to find it. And I think it's going on for another couple weeks. So we've already made our first goal, but we're getting, I think, ready for the
bonus goals, my friend.
Yeah, stretch goals. So James is handling all that. He's doing really great job. And it's a fun project to be. I love the cover. It's a great project to be part of. So please help support it.
Awesome. And Ms. Mary Ogle, thank you as always.
Thank you. I'm so excited. We have such a good season to talk about.
Yes, we do. Anything you want to promote, like your artwork?
That counts as a Chibnall Bash, by the
way. I'm fine with that. You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts. No Chibnall allowed.
Yay!
I think we've more than made up for last episode.
Yes, we did.
Thank
you guys for everybody for listening. We do appreciate you guys as always. You can find us up on Facebook, Instagram, wherever fine podcasts are found. You can listen to us, and of course, now we have our YouTube channel. And as of this week, all our podcasts, our audio podcasts, are also up on YouTube. So we have the choice of audio and video up there. So please check us out. And thank you, everybody who's been subscribing, everyone who's listening. Our numbers have been going through the roof this season. So we do appreciate it as always. On behalf of myself, Mike Faber, thank you for watching, and we will see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Peace, everyone. Have a good week, and maybe go do some ballroom dancing.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This is Drew Leiter from the Earth Station DCU podcast, inviting you to join us every week for DC news, comic reviews, and more. This summer, we'll be checking out the Netflix series Dead Boy Detectives and the last season of Sweet Tooth. We will also be covering the comic event Absolute Power, as well as the animated Crisis on Infinite Earths event. Don't get left behind. Subscribe to the Earth Station DCU podcast today.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.